Shazam, Shazam. My name is Frank Corbin, the broker of record at Remake Realty and from the Young and Rich team. And today I'm discussing Renting 101. Renting 101. Some of the simple mistakes landlords make when trying to acquire a tenant for your property. And especially because the rental market is so high right now and the price point of these rents are very high. Landlords have to be very, very careful when you bring in tenants into your property. More important, we already know the delay process to take a tenant to the landlord tenants board in order for the eviction process. So keeping those things in mind, you got to do more due diligence today when you're renting a property to a tenant compared to what you used to back in the days. Okay, so I'm gonna go through some of the process that we use when qualifying tenants for your property. If we represent you as a realtor, also we do what we do also when we're representing ourselves to find tenants. Okay, and this is for long-term tenants with a regular Ontario lease. Right. So first of all, rule number one: do not, and I'm gonna go very stern with this. Do not rent your real estate business property. I emphasize that. Do not rent your real estate business property to friends or family members. Rule number one. And why I'm emphasizing on real estate business is because you have a mandatory obligation to your bank every month to pay your mortgage, to pay your property taxes to the government, to pay utilities to utilities company. Do not put that in the hands of your friends and family members. Why? When you evict or get rid of a family member out of your property through the eviction process, you just not only lose a tenant, you damage that family relationship. Not only with the person that was staying in your place, other family members as well. They all get mad at you. So to simplify the process, do not rent your property to friends or family members. Now, let's move forward. Now we get the cushy stuff out of the way. Let's get down to business now. Renting 101. Now, one of the problem that people or landlords don't know is when a tenant says, hey, I'm making $65,000, I'm making $75,000 a year, if that tenant is qualified to be in your property today. So here's an example of a house. I'm gonna put 3-bedroom, detached home in Ajax, renting for $3,000. $3,000 in rent. So the tenants apply, fill out the application, mom with 2 kids, dad with 2 kids, mom and dad with 3 kids, whatever it is, right? And the person put on the application, I'm making $75,000 a year. Now you thinking $75,000 is a lot of money. Well, I'm about to tell you, $75,000 is not a lot of money in today's scheme and things. It's not a lot of money, okay? That cannot even qualify you for $3,000 a month rent in a property. It can't. And it sounds weird to some of you who don't know these numbers, but I'm going to show you exactly how we qualify the tenants coming to our property or investors' property. First of all, let's stick with the $75,000 and the $3,000 range. So $75,000 a year, $3,000 a month the landlord is asking. So this is what we do. This is the math we used to do back in the days and the math we currently doing. So the math we used to do, we take the $75,000 times it by 30%. That comes out to be $22,500. Then you divide that $22,500 by 12 months. That gives you that gives you $1,875. That is what that person used to be able to afford to really live in that 3-bedroom detached home. They cannot afford your rent. So because things have increased, inflation, cost of living increase, we move that from a 30% ratio now to a 40% ratio, which I think is pretty decent. So we take the same $75,000, times it by 40%, that gives us $30,000. You divide that $30,000 by 12 months. That gives you $2,500. They still can't qualify. You listening to this? A person making $75,000 a year cannot qualify for a $3,000 a month house. They only can afford $2,500. That puts them into a 2-bedroom apartment in a condo in an apartment building. They cannot afford to rent your house. That's just the rent alone. We didn't even talk about utilities yet. So now she said, Frank, well, $75,000 of money. What is a number that I need to able to afford? What's a number I'm looking for in income for my $3,000 a month house? So this is what you do. You take $3,000 times it by 12. That gives you $36,000. Then you divide it by 40%. You listen to me? Let's go through it again. $3,000 times 12 months, give you $36,000. Then you divide it by 40%, which gives you $90,000. You need $90,000 in income from a tenant to pay for your $3,000 a month rent. And that comes mine for one person income, both parties income, husband and wife. You need $90,000 of household income to qualify for your $3,000 a month rent. You see how expensive it is? It's almost like getting a mortgage, because your mortgage is high as well. So I'm going to go through as well some of the ad if you want to do your rental yourself, because we don't really make a lot of money doing rentals as realtors. Okay, we do it as more of a nice gesture to our clients. We pretty much only do rentals for clients who buy properties with us. We don't do it right out randoms off the street like that. So don't call me and ask me for a house. I'm not going to represent you to get yourself a property. We don't make money doing rentals. Realtors do not make money doing rentals unless you're doing high-end rentals in Toronto, people paying $15,000, $20,000 a month. Okay, but these $3,000, all this kind of stuff, we don't make money doing that. So I would do it for my clients as an assistant to them, because they're busy doing their regular stuff. We do it to help them out. Okay, so if you want to do it yourself, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it yourself, and you can be just as effective as us. Okay, now you create an ad. Your ad can be on Facebook Marketplace, it can be on Kijiji, it can be in some of our WhatsApp group, whatever it is. You create a nice ad, okay? And the ad clearly states, I'm going to go through different form of scenarios and show where your ad should clearly state. Luxurious, spacious, bright 3-bedroom home in the most prestigious area of Brampton, Mississauga, Beaumont, Toronto, wherever it is, okay? Serious landlord. Remember, you're a serious landlord. You're a business owner now. Serious landlord in search of a AAA tenant. That means if your stuff is not perfect, I'm not interested in you. I'm not going landlord tenant board chasing you for my money. I don't have time for that. I'm a serious landlord in search of a AAA tenant who has the capability of loving and taking care of my home over the next 5 years. I want you for 5 years. Okay? So you're a AAA tenant who have the capability of being loving and taking care of my property over the next 5 years. Landlord expect tenants to qualify to submit an application. So this is what I'm looking for as a landlord, for you to submit an application. Okay? So I'm looking at the qualifications now. So if you don't have these criteria, don't even waste your time responding to my ad or submit an application. Read the ad properly, please. You tell the tenant, please read the ad in detail. You can put this on the in platform you're on. Please read the ad in details carefully. That's all. Okay? So what the things I'm looking for from you as a AAA tenant? Okay? Number one, a 680 and above credit score. Number two, consistent employment over the last 24 months. 2 years consistent working. A base salary of $96,000. You understand that? A base salary of $96,000. either as an individual or a household income. Next, if you don't fit these criteria, need not apply. Don't waste my time. The current market rent is $3,000 plus utilities. Very simple. Okay, $3,000 plus utilities. You can also state the rent is non-negotiable. Or you can put landlord is flexible on the pricing. I mean, you can go up and down a little bit. You can also state the rent is firm, non-negotiable. Pretty simple. Now, let's move past that. Now we understand what I want from you. You decide that you have what I want. Now, how do I verify that you are who you say you are and what you bring to the table? First of all, I want a copy of your current government license, driver's license, passport. That's that's one of the documents I need. Next, a current pay stub over the last 30 days, which include 2 pay stub, depends every pay bi-weekly, you pay once a month. So current pay stubs over the last 30 days. Next, current job letter with your direct manager number or HR number so I can call to verify if you're making that kind of money or not. Next, a current credit report from Equifax only. If you like TransUnion, use a current credit report from TransUnion only. Moving forward, bank statements of where the rent will be coming from for the last 3 months. So whatever you'll be paying your rent from, I want a bank statement of that account over the last 3 months. Pretty simple, huh? If you follow this process, you can't really eliminate, but you're going to minimize potential damages coming from tenants to you. Now, things happen and people change their mind and all this kind of stuff. But a lot of times when landlords have problems, they're not following these simple guidelines. Okay? Next, landlord reference. I need a contact to your last 2 or 3 places you'll be renting from. Your landlord. I need character reference for 2 or 3 of your friends and family members or people that know you over the last 3, 4, 5 years. So we're looking for landlord reference, family, friends references. If you're living with your parents is not a good reference. Unfortunately, I don't want your parents. I don't want your parents to tell me how good of a person you are and whether you pay on time or not. You live with your parents. Your mom and dad will say anything for you. Okay? Now, the other thing you want to do, for folks, once you get those documents, check the bank statements thoroughly for errors and potential fraud. Check the credit report for errors and potential fraud. Okay? The next thing we want to do is accountability now. All adults over the age of 18 must be under the application or the lease. All adults over the age of 18, I don't care if your child's in university, he or she has to be on that lease agreement. That secured me as a landlord that when you stop paying and we go to landlord-tenant court, and I get judgment over you, I'm going after all adult parties that was living in that house. Because all of them were the beneficiary of living in my house and didn't pay rent. Okay, so all adults, I want, if it's child university, I want to know the student loan, income, all that stuff we want to know. If they're a part-time job, I want a credit report. All adults going to be in that property, I want access to the finances to get into my property. Okay? And that's pretty simple. And you follow these you follow these strategies in a step-by-step process, I can absolutely guarantee you when people come in with shady stuff and they see all these things that you're requiring, they're going to move to the next landlord, looking for the path of easiest resistance. The landlord who just wants the first and last month rent and just put them into your property. Okay? That's what they're looking for. And that's where they're going to go. And your job is to push them over that side. Because I prefer my property to be vacant than have a person living in my property and not paying on time. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, feel free to respond to this video in the comment section. You can also call me or message me on WhatsApp, 647-237-3642. And I can show you anything else you need to know concerning getting your property rent out. Now, again, we don't rent properties for landlords. I don't do that. And because we don't make any money doing it. We spend our time maximizing where we get the best bang for our buck or the best buck for our time. And renting property is not one of them. I'm being honest with you as a realtor. We make money when we buy and sell homes for clients. Okay? But if you're one of my client and you buy a property, I would assist you as a favor to you to put a tenant inside following the same strategy that I just mentioned. Okay? We collect first and last month rent, we collect post-dated checks, and these kind of things. Sometimes if the person is a new immigrant into the country, they might even offer to pay you 4, 5, 6 months of rent in advance just to show credibility of them able to afford to pay the place. We can't mandate that, but they can offer to pay that amount to you as a landlord. So that's the other side. The person don't have any credit, they just got a new job, they're new to the country as a new immigrant, which is happening very, very frequently. Sometimes the tenants will offer to pay you sometimes even 1 year in advance for the rent, in order not to go through all this procedure that we're doing through here. And if a person's paying you 1 year in advance, we can pretty much sure they're not going to be shady because they offer you a lot of money up front. That's the other option if they don't have all these, if they don't fit all this criteria we have on the thing here. New to the country, they should be able to do that, okay? And then, because then you're going after the best of breed, the people who come to the country who have money, who can actually afford to live into your property. To your success, see you then. Now, don't forget, never, absolutely never rent your property to friends or family members. You will damage relationship. To your success, see you then. Landlord Renting 101.